Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video we'll be getting up to date with the new Orruk Warclans Battletome news, and also having a look to see how we can use Gobsprakk in our Orruk army. The new Battletome for the Orruk Warclans is due for release later this month, and there's been a few articles over the past week just bringing us up to date and giving us a sneak peek into some of the new abilities that the Orruk Warclans are going to be able to use, and how we can tie in the Kruleboyz with our existing Ironjawz and Bonesplitterz. So in this video we'll go through those articles and get right up to speed with all the new information. Let's start with the most recent article, which was on the Warhammer community site, and this is going to give us 3 armies that we can build from this new Battletome, and this is going to mix together all the different Warclans, making the use of their talents and different tricks and abilities, but also playing into their kind of narratives as well. So let's start with the first one, which is Monster Hunters. With monsters playing such a big part in this new edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, I think it'd be awesome to build an army of monster hunters and put together an army based around the narrative that they go out hunting for these monsters and taking down these giants with all different weapons. And this will give us a good chance to use some of our bone splitters with those big stabbers, which are really cool. And they suggest in the article that you put some battle line savage Orruks armed with chompers together, and this is going to give you 10 bone splitters per unit. That way you'll get a total of 20 attacks, and if you charge you're going to wound on a 2+. So that's a great start. But now with these new Kruleboyz available as well, they suggest using some of the beast skewer kill bows, and these are going to be perfect to bring down those big beasts. So you've got the kind of guys who can charge in, these mad bone splitters with the different weapons. Those big stabbers are awesome. And then you've got some Kruleboyz beast skewer kill boys to shoot from a distance and bring them down. So really nice start. But let's have a look at the abilities that are suggested to be used from this new Battletome if you want to build a beast hunters army. So if you choose to use the Beast Skewer Killbow, you get this skewered ability, and Beast Skewer bolts can punch straight through a monster or several ranks of enemy warriors. To determine the damage characteristic for an attack made with Beast Skewer bolts, roll a number of dice equal to the wounds characteristic of the target unit. The damage characteristic is equal to 2 plus 1 for each roll of 5+, up to a maximum damage characteristic of 12. So this is a great way to roll loads of dice, take some huge damage and eat into those beasts, and then make room for the bone splitters to charge in and do the rest of the damage and take them down. So that's a good start. We talked a little bit in a previous video about building an army and running all the different Orruks from the different Warclans as a big war to give you all sorts of bonuses. And the idea is that you're going to build up war points throughout the game, and then once you hit certain thresholds of those points, you're going to be able to get to use them in different ways. And this is where the power of the war comes in. So with this, the war becomes barely containable and requires just one last push to reach critical mass. At the start of the combat phase, you can say you will release the power of the war. If you do so, add 1 to the attacks characteristic of melee weapons used by friendly Orruk units for the rest of that phase. At the end of that phase, you lose all the war points you have received so far, and your army loses all the war powers it has gained so far. So being able to add 1 to the attacks characteristic of those melee weapons of your bone splitters as they charge in is going to be really powerful. So another great tactic that you can use if you want to build your monster hunters army. The next army you might like to put together is called Brave Shooters, and the idea here is you make use of this long-range firepower that comes with the Kruleboyz. So in the Kruleboyz that have been released so far with the Dominion set and those starter sets, we get the Man Skewer Bolt Boys, and then we've seen the Beast Skewer Killbows above as well just previously, and with a big range of 24 inches and hitting on a 2+. If you don't move them, then you've got a big chance of doing some damage from a distance. So, and if you use a big Yellers Warclan, you're going to be able to add 3 inches to that range. So with already a range of 24 plus 3, you've got 27-inch range. That's huge across the battlefield. So really great. And you can also use Bolt Boys as battle line units in a big Yellers army as well. You can also use your Hobgrots to attack at range as well. And here's some that I speed painted. There's a video on the channel showing you how I did that. But you can use their sulfuric scrap grenades if you want to. And that's going to give you up to an 8-inch range as well. So another option that you've got there. And if you want to add in some bone splitters, then that's a really good idea as well. They can shoot those arrows. They haven't got a great aim, but we can make use of an ability called Barrage of Arrows, which is really going to help all of these that we've just talked about. So with Barrage of Arrows, though they are not great at hitting anything they're actually aiming at, Bone-Grin's Arrow Boys fill the sky with so many missiles that it rarely makes much difference. Add 1 to the attacks characteristics of missile weapons used by friendly Bone-Grin Savage Orruk Arrow Boys. So using this Barrage of Arrows would give the Arrow Boys 3 attacks each. So I really like the idea of putting together a few units of these, and I think that would be really great if you could start combining them with the Kruleboyz as well. I think it would be a really fun tactic. And the third army idea that they've given us is called Spell Slingers. And with the 3 different factions included in the Orruk Warclans Battletome, you can really have some different shamans to use with all different spells and spell lore. So I think this is really fun if you like wizards and you want to put them together in a big war, then this will be really fun. And this really appeals to me because I like these shaman characters. And so there's some great ones already for the Bonesplitterz, but with these new ones coming out for the Kruleboyz, I think we're going to have plenty of options. So really fun. But the first one is called Lore of the Swamp, and this is going to be kind of tying in with that narrative from the Kruleboyz. So with this one, the shaman summons a cloud of corrosive vapour that scorches the lungs of any caught within it, causing them to fall to the floor, gasping for breath. Choking Mist is a spell that has a casting value of 7 and a range of 24 inches. If successfully cast, pick a point on the battlefield within range and visible to the caster. All units within 6 inches of that point are affected by Choking Mist until the start of your next hero phase. While a unit is affected by Choking Mist, subtract 1 from the attacks characteristic of melee weapons used by it to a minimum of 1, and it cannot run. If you're more of a fan with the Ironjawz wizards that use the Lore of the Weird, then this is another option for you. And so Lore of the Weird, called Basham Lads. Pulsing waves of war energy radiate from the shaman, boosting the fighting prowess of nearby Ironjawz. Basham Lads is a spell that has a casting value of 8. If successfully cast until your next hero phase, you can add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made by friendly Ironjawz units that are wholly within 16 inches of the caster. I really like the kind of Bonesplitterz shamans. They really appeal to me. And so if you like them the best, then you've got the Lore of the Savage Beast, which is available to all the Bonesplitterz wizards. And for this Lore of the Savage Beast, Power of the Wereboar, the shaman summons a stampede of roaring swine spirits that temporarily transform a mob of Bonesplitterz into snarling, rage-filled demi-beasts. How cool does that sound? Power of the Wereboar is a spell that has a casting value of 6 and a range of 24 inches. If successfully cast, pick 1 friendly Bonesplitterz unit wholly within range and visible to the caster. Until your next hero phase, add 1 to run rolls and charge rolls for that unit, and add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by that unit, and that unit cannot shoot. So this one sounds great. Out of all 3, this is 100% my favourite. Power of the Wereboar sounds awesome, really great fun, and I think it gives them some great extra bonuses when they're running in there and attacking. So that sounds really fun. I really like the sound of all these Orruk spellcasters, and it says in the article that they're great in support roles and that you can fit quite a few into your army. So that sounds really good as well. Being able to put a few of these in, I think, is going to make things really interesting. So really excited about that. But can't wait to get this actual Battletome. I think it's going to be great fun to put all the different Orruk Warclans together. So I'll be looking out for this later this month, and I guess we're going to find out soon when we can pre-order that, which is probably going to be available to pre-order maybe this weekend or next weekend probably. So look out for that, and I'll update on the video as we find out more. So that covers the Battletome news, but last week we also had an article for Gobsprakk to show us how to use swampy magic, bad smells and a screaming plant to dominate the battlefield. So let's take a look at everything that was included in that article too, because this is a great looking model. Gobsprakk just looks awesome on this huge vulture, and I can't wait to get this one. This is one I definitely want to get for my Kruleboyz and to get started. I still haven't played a proper game yet. I'm just playing around with the rules, trying to get into it. It's quite a lot to learn, especially with so many other games going on, but a great piece of advice from Ginny over on my Patreon, where we've got our Discord where we chat about the hobby and everything. She suggested just starting with 600 points and then just building up a little bit at a time, and I think that's a really good idea because it's quite intimidating to get started. But if you just think, I'll just go with a low number of points, 600, start off small and then gradually build it up, I think that's a good way to get into it. So I'm certainly taking that advice, and so thanks Ginny for that. It's awesome. But this is one great model, and I'm really looking forward to getting Gobsprakk on this vulture. But he also comes with a grot, and this grot is called Wrinklefinger, and he's got a secret weapon of his own, which is a screaming mandrake. I guess this is a take on a mandrake, and so we get an ability with this, and this is going to again build into the whole narrative of these two, and I think it's going to be really fun to play. And so let's have a look at this now. So this is called Screaming Mandrake. Wrinklefinger carries with him a hideous root that emits a shrill cry when squeezed or pinched. The awful sound wreaks havoc on the concentration of enemy wizards who are trying to cast spells. Once per battle, when this unit attempts to unbind a spell, you can say that it is using its Screaming Mandrake. If you do so, the unbinding roll for that attempt is made with 3d6 instead of 2d6. So really nice that we're bringing in this little grot attendant here, so nice to bring that into the whole gameplay as well. So I'm liking this, nice start, but we get some other abilities, quite a few actually to go through here. We've got another 4 to look at, and this next one is called Mork Says No. Gobsprakk takes particular pride in hunting down enemy wizards to add their grisly remains to his trophy rack. As they foolishly attempt to weave their magics, he summons tapeworm squigs into their guts and fills their mind with so much war energy that they sometimes explode. Each time this unit unbinds a spell, the caster suffers D3 mortal wounds. If the spell was unbound with an unbinding roll of 10+, the caster suffers D6 mortal wounds instead. So a great description for an ability, one of the best ones so far, and that's Mork Says No. Gobsprakk's also got some tricks up his sleeves, and with this one it's called Summon Boggy Mist, and this is a spell that stinks the whole battlefield up. So get ready for this. Raise in their hands with a guttural belch, the swamp caller transmutes the ground into marshland. As they do so, thick and foul-smelling swamp mists smother the field, distracting enemies and aiding the Kruleboyz in a stealthy advance. Summon Boggy Mist is a spell that has a casting value of 7. If successfully cast until your next hero phase, add 1 to charge rolls for friendly Kruleboyz Orruks units on the battlefield, and subtract 1 from charge rolls for other units on the battlefield. Gobsprakk can also delve into spell lore, the lore of the swamp, and for this he's going to be able to cast 2 spells per turn, so that's really great. So let's have a look at this Sneaky Miasma. The shaman waves his staff as if he was stirring an invisible cauldron, causing a thick miasma to obscure one of the Kruleboyz war beasts from view. A few moments of eerie silence follow before the monster reveals itself once more, usually at the flank of the enemy force. Sneaky Miasma is a spell that has a casting value of 6 and a range of 18 inches. If successfully cast, pick 1 friendly Kruleboyz monster within range and visible to the caster. That monster can make a normal move. So that sounds great, but we've got one more from the lore of the swamp, and this is called the Black Pit. And the idea with this is it takes down these heavy infantry. The shaman taps his staff on the ground, forking out from that spot and surging towards a nearby foe. The earth turns into a noisome quagmire that sucks victims below its surface to their doom. The Black Pit is a spell that has a casting value of 7 and a range of 12 inches. If successfully cast, pick 1 enemy unit within range and visible to the caster. Roll a dice for each model in that unit. For each 6, and for each other roll that is equal to or greater than that unit's save characteristic, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. So that's all the magic and abilities there, but Gobsprakk can also get stuck in some close combat, and he's got a bog bark staff with him that's got a range of 3 inches. It deals D3 damage with each hit. And add that to the killer beak, this vulture that he's riding upon, who's got a 14-inch flying movement. He can really get stuck in, get in close to the enemy, and dish out a little bit of pain himself. So really interesting character, a great model, and I'm really looking forward to getting this one. I think we're looking out for a few more articles maybe on this before he comes out. It says that this new book is up for pre-order later this month for the Battletome, and keep an eye on Warhammer community for further grimy glimpses and to discover that all-important release date. So it looks like we've seen perhaps everything we're going to see for the Kruleboyz, which is a lot. I mean, we've got a lot of models waiting to come, a lot of big monsters, this big vulture, and then the Battletome. So hopefully we'll find out that we can pre-order this, maybe pre-order on the 21st for delivery on the 28th perhaps, or the other way, or it'll be pre-order on the 28th. I'm not sure, but let's find out later this month as more articles come out, and I'll certainly keep updated here with more videos. If the Orruk Warclans aren't your thing and you're more into the Stormcast Eternals, then I've also done an update for the Battletome and these awesome dragons on the channel today. And you can get all these models available in the Dominion box set, a great selection of Kruleboyz and Stormcast Eternals. And this set's still available on the website as well, on the Games Workshop website. You can even get those command tokens. But if you go to Element Games, you're going to get a great discount up to 20%. At the moment, it's 15%, costing you just £106.25, but you don't get the tokens with that. But it's good to shop around, so I'll put links to Element Games and Wayland Games, and at Wayland Games they're still offering 20% off, so for under £100 you get a great box set there, and you can also pick up all those starter sets that I've done a video on for too. So I'll put those links in the description. They're affiliate links but don't cost you anything extra. In fact, you save up to 20% there, and for every sale made through it, with those links, you also support the channel because I get a commission too. So thanks so much for that. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I think we've got lots to look forward to over the next few weeks, and the Orruk Warclans Battletome is one of those. So thanks so much for watching. Please like if you like it, subscribe for more videos like this, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to join me next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games. If you like this kind of content and would like to support the channel, then please check out my Patreon page, and thanks to everyone who's joined so far. It's really awesome. We hang out on Discord, talk about the hobby, share ideas and help each other out, and you'll get some perks there that you're not going to find anywhere else. So I'll put a link in the description, and it'd be great to see you there.